We met 2 weeks ago with the community of Roberts to talk to them about some of their concerns and issues. We're going to build this summer from 8th to Robinson, which includes the roundabout at 78. We're also hoping within the next couple of years to be building Roberts, possibly from Roberts toward Red Lodge, and when we can get the right-of-way cleared up, we'll go from Robinson to 2 Mile Bridge Road, which will have another roundabout at 2 Mile Bridge Road, which will give people a really nice appeal when they come into town. It'll slow them down and give the opportunity for the community to really show off their town. With that, you know, I made a commitment to the community, and here's my chance. I led myself to this. With that, we are committed to building the pedestrian path. Something with this project, and Mr. Spalding's probably the right person to talk, but you get sidewalks, both sides of the road where they don't exist today, to about 3rd Street, and from 3rd Street on the east side will be a 10-foot pedestrian path that'll eventually go all the way out to 2 Mile Bridge Road, which will interconnect, my understanding, with the trail system through your trails plan, heading up over the hill and toward the golf course. So it's one part of a bigger project, and over the years we've worked very well with Forest and making sure that our plans tie into all of the community plans through our environmental process. But with that, I can blabber all day long. I do this a lot.
Before we open it up to the public for questions, this afternoon, looking around, particularly from about the roundabout north, there are a number of properties up there that will be isolated when the detours occur, including High Country Equipment, Ronings, Alpine Hotel, Esteem, which is a beauty salon, Northern Energy, Rocky Mountain Tire, Rock Creek Lumber, Red Lodge Spas, and Mahope Chapel. And that's north of where the roundabout will be. There is no access to those, as best I can tell, unless there's a plan I don't understand, and we need to get that addressed early on. Particularly places like Rocky Mountain Tire and Ronings, who both do mechanical work, and just being able to walk there doesn't do them any good. They need to be able to get there, as High Country Equipment as well. So there's that.
The tire company, you can get into there from behind the gas station. Into that, we would just have to build a little access across some grass that's there right now to get to there. But they would have to come in off of 2nd Street behind the gas station and then head north into the tire company's parking lot. The spa's parking lot is connected with the tire company's parking lot, as is Rocky Creek Lumber, or is it Rocky Creek Lumber? Rock Creek, sorry. So that area should be addressed and able to be accessed. Obviously, you will have access through parking lots, which may or may not pose problems to them. But physically, you could get vehicles in and out of those areas without accessing Broadway. The ones on the other side, those we'll have to take a look at and see.
If you have anything.
Not at this point, I don't.
It's all yours. Doug, go ahead.
Doug Bailey, 116 West 5th Street. I'm here kind of unofficially, or they asked me to semi-represent some of the people that live along the Hauser detour, the route along Hauser from, we live at between 5th and 7th, I suppose, is where the majority of us live. And so last year there was a detour route that went along Hauser there, and you know, obviously there has to be a detour route somewhere, so it's got to go somewhere. But the thing that we are worried about is speed along Hauser. One of the things, you know, speed's obviously an issue anywhere, but it's particularly sensitive. Hauser's a really sensitive road because it has from 5th Street heading south, you've got Lions Park, the Art Depot, the grocery store, the library, the Boys and Girls Club, Field Park, the Children's Center, the hardware store, the post office, the middle school. I mean, and thinking that people are gonna get off of the detour and head back to Main Street immediately. We saw last year that didn't happen. They, you know, especially locals knew that they could just keep heading along Hauser and head down. And there's a stretch from 5th Street to 9th is the next stop sign, so it's 4 blocks where there's no stop signs there. And we definitely my friend of mine, Don Hardy, sat out, actually had a little radar gun that he would sit on his porch and watch people go by it last summer, and you know, I almost got hoarse yelling at people as I was you know, pushing my kid in a stroller and walking down along the sidewalks there and stuff. 4 blocks is plenty enough for people who are taking a detour to go really quick. They start moving fast, and there are a lot of kids and pedestrians out there. So last year, basically, you know, myself, Don Hardy, April Greer, and a couple other people that live there did call in to the police department to see what could be done to mitigate speed, to make the speed limit more apparent, to do that sort of stuff. And a couple of times through the summer, we got the speed trailer that went out there, and that would help, but I would guess there's only one in town, and it gets moved around, and it's not there that often. And the speed limit there technically is 15 miles an hour, and I think the speed limit signs on there are about this big. They're really small, hard to see. So what I'm requesting is that there's an initiative, something really done to mitigate the speed along that stretch, because it's got to be probably one of the most heavily foot trafficked stretches in town with all the parks and everything else going on there. So whether it be additional speed trailers, you know, one that can be almost permanently set up there with the speed limit flagged. You know, there were parts
where the detour ends, which will be probably at, depending on which phase we're in, but from 5th to 8th, somewhere near, we're gonna close the detour route to through traffic. In other words, we're not going to allow people to continue through, whether it be on Hauser, Platt, Hagen, or wherever the detours are. We're gonna close it we'll have to leave it open for local traffic, but we're not gonna leave it open for through traffic.
Right.
The other thing is, I'll put some enforcement out there. We will.
Jared Miller, Rocky Mountain Tire. I would love to work with everybody to you know, get access to those other businesses down by me. It's gonna be tough with big trailers, stuff like that, getting in and out of there. I just want you guys to keep that in mind. The other thing is, Ed, we're missing a business, Red Lodge Power Sports. I just wanna make sure that the signage has my other business's name on it, so they know when they're working their way through the detours and whatnot.
We actually have you on the map, I
Yep,
think.
you're on the map.
Okay.
Mark?
Mark Brazich, Superintendent of Schools and business owner. First, I'd like to compliment the public input portion of this and what you've done today. That's very, very nice. I apologize I wasn't there, and I don't want to create redundancy, but I haven't heard timelines of when this stuff is gonna happen. And I got 10 buses in High Country's parking lot that are gonna need access in and out at some point in time through the 4th of June. So there is a fairly decent inclined ramp behind Mountain View Clinic there outside of High Country Equipment, but that's fairly important, I think, to young parents that we're running buses and into next fall too. So just timelines of sections that are gonna be closed, and I don't wanna create a ton of extra time, because I know it was probably covered this afternoon, but I was in Domes all afternoon for meetings, so.
I believe, if my memory is correct, beginning about April 15th until about the end of May, that entire part of the project from basically 2nd Street to Robinson should be complete. So we'll have that period of time we have to deal with, Mark. And I have you on my list here of things that we need to pay attention to and be sure we have it right.
And we can relocate buses or whatever, but not, I mean.
Could you specifically, Stefan, could you specifically point out who will be at the weekly meetings, who will be conducting them, and exactly when they start? Just tell us who's going to be at the weekly meetings, which I think are very, very important to take care of issues that come up.
Right, I believe there'll be a contractor representative, the engineer.
And his name is?
Jason Mojica, M-O-J-I-C-A.
There'll be Jeff Dykeman, MDT project manager.
They'll be run by the contractor.
Right, these are the contractors' meetings. We'll have Jeff or one of his senior staff here. If there's a known issue that needs to be addressed that's fairly higher level, Mike Taylor, who was there earlier, our construction engineer, he will likely come down for those meetings if there's something that absolutely needs to be addressed. Or at the request of Forrest, who knows how to get a hold of me, I can always come up with something that needs to be done also. And then the contractor will have different people, I'm sure periodically here, that they'll send. So, but the two key people would be Jason, right? Jason and Jeff. Thank you.
And those meetings will be here at 8 o'clock Wednesday mornings, weekly. Tea with the mayor, which you're all welcome to come to, and we will be updating you at those. First Tuesday of every month, Red Lodge Books and Tea, between 8 and 10 a.m. Honey's on the third Thursday between 9 and 11 a.m. And we talk about all kinds of things, but we will no doubt be talking about the project at each of those. Let me kind of bring the MDT part of it to a conclusion here. I'm very positive of what's going to happen this year. I think we have an opportunity, while it's going to be a bit disruptive at times, everybody appears to be on board to get it done right, to make the minimal impact on our business community, and that's what we're most worried about right here this evening. I'm feeling good about it. I think the guys are on board to get it done right. We're gonna do what we have to do to keep everybody in business and get as many people back to Broadway as quickly as we can whenever we have a detour. Gary?
If I may, just going to quickly repeat a little speech from earlier this afternoon. I'm on a Chamber of Commerce committee that's specifically addressing all of this and how it's developing. And the message that we're trying to put out to the business community, and the Carbon County News is a part of this group, the local rag's a part of this group, is we may bicker about how things get done and talk about whether this street has that or whatever, but the message that we as a community want to spread to the rest of the country is that this is a good thing, this is a positive thing, we're working together, we're improving the community, we're open for business, and come on down.
Thank you.